Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Tonya Harbin Real Estate Hour. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about real estate, how to buy it, how to sell it, how to make the most out of your investment, and how to better keep it. Also, we're going to find out a little bit about what's going on around our town. We love the Key City, and we love the feel and the vibe that we get here. And if you're wanting to move to Abilene, Texas, you are more than welcome. I tell you what, it's the best place to raise a family and the best place in America to start a new business. And without further ado, she's got her own business, and let me tell you something, she's the best better than the rest. It's Tonya Harbin! Good afternoon, good morning, Tonya. Howdy, Tonya.
Good morning, Rudy.
Good morning, how are you? I'm excited. Good morning, Tonya. How are you today? Good morning, Tonya. I'll get started.
Are you excited because tomorrow is Father's Day?
Father's Day, and then the next day is my birthday.
Happy early Father's Day and happy early birthday.
Yes, because it's, to me, it bites big time. Because all my kids, they get a birthday present and they get a Christmas present. My wife gets a Mother's Day gift and a birthday gift. Me, I get one. And they all went in on it and go, here, Daddy, we bought you this for your birthday and Father's Day. So it bites. All right. So, but thank you. Happy Father's Day to each and every one of you listening today from the Tonya Harbin Real Estate Hour. So, happy. Are you going to say something to Kelly over the radio, Give him a shout out. Happy Father's Day, Daddy.
Happy Father's Day.
Are they Daddy's girls?
Yes.
Are they really? Mm-hmm. So did they ever say something like twisting on their hair? Hey, Daddy, are you out of sweet tea? Do you want some more tea? You want something to drink, Daddy? And then,
no.
Oh, they never do that?
My goodness.
Yeah, your daughters don't do that to him?
No.
Oh. I'll tell you what, it'll make the wallet come out a lot faster. All right. So, yeah, Father's Day, are you going to even have homes open for viewing, or is the staff taking them?
I mean, I thought we should have them, but Amanda said we didn't have them on Mother's Day, so we can't do them on Father's Day.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh, Dad would love to get out from having to grill in the backyard and mow lawns, and maybe you could go to an open house.
That's right.
All right. So you got plans for him? Are you going to cook, or is he going to have to do that?
Well, here is my thought. So let me just tell you, on Mother's Day, we had, all of our kids and grandkids at our house, and this is how it went down. All the moms were outside the entire time with the kids, and they're all
in the pool.
Yes, little bitty. And the guys were all inside cooking, as I say in quotation marks. So I said on Father's Day, I don't cook, so I said we will order pizzas, but the women will be inside cooking the pizzas while the guys are outside with all the kids at the pool.
Oh, that is so unfair.
I mean, that's what happened on Mother's Day. No, just kidding.
They should have put Father's Day in the middle of football season, don't y'all think? I mean, football season, it would have been great.
I know.
All right, that's stated. So no open houses, but you can view those open houses with those virtual open houses.
There is also the Parade of Homes this weekend, so if you're wanting to look at houses, there are going to be some open.
And some of those are yours?
So, several of the builders that we work with, they'll be having their homes open.
All right. Is there one you got an eye on? Because I know you're looking
Lots of pretty houses out there.
All right, that's stated. Let's continue on with, I said we're going to find out some wonderful things about our city. And one wonderful thing about our city is we are being invaded. I'm telling you, it is coming from everywhere. You know what? They better not be rioting like they were this weekend. And they were rioting here in our town. I'm tired of it, and I'm going to say it right now. We have Mayor Weldon in the studio, Mayor of Abilene. No rioting in Abilene. Those fleas, or whatever you want to call them, they were ridiculous. They were everywhere.
Yeah, well, we also, yesterday had a large swarm of termites.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dag termites.
Whoa!
It was pretty crazy. I mean, it was widespread. So
was it birthing season? Is that what happened? And they got their wings?
Just the temperature and humidity was right, and generally, the eastern subterranean termites that actually infest our home, they don't swarm after May. So these are a completely different type of termite. They don't infest a home or do damage to homes like that. They eat dead grass and things like that. They'll get up on a fence, but it just, it just kind of looks like an apocalypse for a little bit, while they're swarming, and then they're done. The birds have a field day with them, so.
All right, so I was looking for this huge fly, and I found 2 of them in my house. And I don't know if it was mom or dad. Were they the parents to those, what are they called, termites that were flying around the infestation? They were rioting around my house.
No, I think what you had in your house was a cicada killer. And so that is a large wasp type pest that actually is a natural enemy of a cicada, or a locust if you want to call them that. And so they're really terrifying looking. They're very large, but they won't sting you. They will only sting cicadas.
So you just said a difference between a cicada and a locust. Is there actually a difference between the two?
The way they're spelled.
Okay. All right, I'll just leave it at that. Because I have the trees that attract those cicadas, and had I known years ago that planting those type of oaks will also attract the coral snakes that are looking for the cicadas to eat them, and I'm like, so I have to be very careful stepping out in the yard, because a lot of times there's snakes out there. And they're just waiting for a cicada to come out. I love the cicadas.
Oh, and that wonderful noise at night, you can just sleep to it. It's so peaceful. I love the sound that they make too.
I liked that until I heard that they attract snakes.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They do attract the snakes when they're coming up out of the ground. The snakes.
Yeah. That's never in town though. Well, it could be.
Here he is, Mr.
Snakes
Pest
are
Patrol
only
going.
outside of town, right?
Yeah.
Outside of Taylor County is where the snakes live.
Yeah, all of them live outside of Taylor County.
That's what I thought.
What was it like that? Like Iceland, the priest that went to Iceland, and he prayed that they were going to get rid of all these flying fleas and ticks and all the bees and everything, and then all of a sudden hey, he did it. Come to find out that it's too cold for them there, and that's why they were never there to begin with.
So funny.
That's history back in the 1700s, I guess, is what it was.
So I have 2 questions for you today.
All right,
so number 1. All right, so we have, outdoor patio furniture, and we've had this furniture since probably 2012. So we've had it for a long time. And just this year, we've had the weirdest thing happening. So it's like these bugs are going up into the chairs, and it's metal, but there's like yellow stuff that they're leaving underneath. Any idea what that might be?
Oh, I don't really have an idea offhand. A lot of times a wasp or a dirt dauber will have those yellow droppings when they're going into those hollow tubes like that. You'll see the yellow droppings from a dirt dauber a lot of times.
Okay.
But it could be different types of beetles, but anything that wants to, harbage inside that hollow tube.
So weird, because we've had these for a long time and we've never had this happen.
Right.
So,
every year's different.
Are they eating the metal or what?
No, they're not eating the metal. They're just harbaging in there, and that's just some droppings they're leaving. So.
And the birds that eat those aren't hungry anymore because you're feeding the birds. Are you putting out bird seed for your birds?
I mean, I don't know.
You're not going to answer that. She's not going to say.
No,
I'm not going to say. Maybe Kelly needs to get that power washer out again.
Probably so. All right, and then my second thing is we have a sofa. It's not under, just kind of out in our yard by a fire pit. And I walked out the other day, and there is a white ball on there.
That's an egg sac. That's a spider egg sac. And so once those spiders inside that egg sac start hatching, they will start coming out of it. So, it's that time of year, it's been pretty mild. We really haven't gotten outside to our patio furniture that much yet. So, you need to go out there with a broom, sweep everything off, wear some garden gloves, long sleeves, turn that stuff over, make sure you don't have any black widows, just do some protective.
Wait, is that where black widows, they do that?
They don't really do that egg
spiders.
sac. Most spiders do the egg sac. And so you just be careful, get rid of those egg sacs, sweep them off.
The brown recluse do it? Because, I'm thinking it's on a patio, it's shaded underneath the chair.
Don't tell her it's poisonous.
Okay, don't tell her it's poisonous. All right. I will tell you right now that if you have any vehicles that you haven't driven around, like that riding lawnmower, in your yard or anything like that, be sure to check underneath little crooks and crannies like she's talking about, because that's one, that's another, and I got about 3 or 4 more bee stings. When I went to go pick something up, I accidentally bumped this little hive, and they get a little upset, don't they?
Yeah, especially those wasp nests, because under trailer hitches and mowers that have been moved. We've had a couple of incidents too. Watch for the bees, watch for the honeybees. If there's a nest close, they get really irritated when you come by with mowers and power equipment and things like that. And so, I've had a couple of pretty bad bee attacks in the big country recently. So always just be aware, of your surroundings and where those are at. And if you do come across a hive, call a beekeeper, somebody to come capture those bees. But don't run a power mower by a beehive. So.
What do you mean bee attacks? Like in town?
Well, there was one in Comanche, and then one out of, was it in Cross Plains, I believe.
Yeah.
In Comanche, they actually killed 3 horses. A bee attack did.
Yeah.
And so, bees can be very aggressive when they're provoked, and they release a pheromone. And so once a bee stings you, it releases a pheromone that tells more bees to come to you. So get away from them. But like I say, always be aware of your surroundings. If you are attacked by bees, try to get inside, try to get to water, try to get away from them, get inside your car, run. I mean, just standing there is not going to do any good. Just get away from them as fast as you can.
And call the fire department. They'll come and knock them down for you. I know that they've had to do that, and I think they did that in Cross Plains, where they had to come out because they were attacking some
That's
horses.
crazy that they killed a horse.
Right. 3 horses, actually. So it was a pretty bad bee attack, and a horse can't get away. They're in a pen, and it's kind of a sad situation. And what happened, but they just they had too many stings and they just couldn't sustain it.
Mayor Hurt, I got to ask, because I've heard about the killer bees. Have we had any more killer bees in West Texas?
Well, we have, Africanized bees, killer bees that are, they're still a honeybee. And so we've always had those bees in this area for the last 20 years, And but even your European honeybees, they can be aggressive if provoked. So it's really hard to tell the difference. They look exactly alike. You have to take these bees and send them to A&M, and they've got to look at them under microscopes, and it's very hard to. You really can't tell the difference with the naked eye. They look just like a honeybee, but an Africanized bee, killer bee, is extremely aggressive when provoked. So just any beehive, just try.
So
not
we
to
have
provoke.
those in Abilene.
We have them occasionally.
She's going to want to move to Alaska pretty soon.
The best thing, what researchers are showing is the European bees are dominant when they crossbreed with Africanized bees. They can actually breed that aggressiveness out. But we're still going to have some Africanized beehives around. We got a lot of bees in the country and a lot of places for these bees to live. And sooner or later, some of them are going to get to town. And so anytime you have a beehive, call a beekeeper, try to get it taken care of that way.
Yeah, because we need the bees.
We need the bees. We need the bees.
That's how we keep our, environment blooming, blossoming.
So why do we have our gardens and our trees and everything else? And pollination, we have to have the bees.
All right, so the other is the mosquitoes. And I know that I have you here, Mayor Hurt, as the mayor, but also from the pest patrol side, I hate the mosquitoes because they make people real sick. If we get another case of the malaria or whatever, the mosquitoes when they bite, and when somebody reports, we've got another case of whatever disease they're
well, bird flu, whatever, swine flu, whatever, is happening at that time. So, the main thing about mosquitoes, especially in the rainy season, we've had a lot of rain in June, which is nice. We're blessed to have that. But that means we are going to have a lot more mosquitoes. We have a mosquito treatment that works with an IGR that actually kills the mosquito at the source in the wiggler or the larva stage. A lot of these other companies that do the fogging for mosquitoes, that works. My issue with that is it kills a lot of pollinators and a lot of good pests too, because you can't control that fog. And ours is it targets the mosquito itself, the gravid female. traffic goes to the harbor areas. But the main thing is we all like to wear short sleeves and shorts and get out in the evening and enjoy our yard. Well, that's just the worst time to be out. Dusk and dawn is when the mosquitoes are the worst. So use long sleeves, mosquito repellent, things like that. Some type of mosquito treatment. You don't have to use mine, but the reason I like ours is it works with an IGR and it doesn't kill those helpful pollinators.
And it is good for the environment.
Yep.
One of the things is that also we're having an influx of snakes reported in and around the area. I was talking with the guys out at Sweetwater, and they're going, yeah, they seem to have had a pretty healthy winter, and they're coming out with lots of babies. Have you seen that as well?
We haven't seen a whole lot of snakes, but what we are seeing is an increase of rodents. And so when you have all this spring growth, we had a lot of green spring growth. The rodents themselves, that makes them produce more. Therefore, the snakes are producing more to come after those rodents. So it's just a natural rotation. When you have more rodents, you're going to see more snakes.
What's your advice for those that have animals in the backyard, whether they're cats or dogs? They like to put out the bowls of water and the bowls of food. And we know, you and I may know what they do, but what can you share with us on that?
Well, we strongly recommend that you don't leave food out, all the time. Put the food out, let your pet eat it, and then take the food up. That's always a food source for rodents. Water, if you've got outside pets, you have to leave water outside, but clean it out. Clean that bowl out so it doesn't get stagnant. If it gets stagnant, then you get mosquitoes in it. You get the little wigglers, the larvae in it. So clean it out, clean that algae out, so that it doesn't get infested with those, but just have clean water and don't leave the pet food out continuous.
What is the one bug Tonya Harbin of Tonya Harbin Real Estate, brokered by Real, hates?
Scorpions.
Really? Do you know where you can find those?
On my floor.
They're hurt. I find them in the attic, and then they come falling on my head because I've got little cracks and crevices here and there. And I just figured out, talking to you when the show started, I had those big, what'd you call them, cicada flies?
Cicada killers.
Cicada killers. I just realized I have an HVAC people over there. They're putting in new, and my heating and air conditioning are in the attic. So they removed the ladder, the pull down ladder that covers up. So I have a big open area in the attic. Should I have had that sprayed before I had the guys come out?
Well, I would wait until after the work was done before I treated the attic. Make sure all the work's done. But then that hole's definitely going to need to be closed up. You got to shut the gate, or the bugs are just going to keep coming in.
Because I'm sitting here going, oh wait, you just put new HVAC. The guys are over there putting in new air conditioning systems, and we got some.
And we don't want to spray the attic or treat the attic when they're up there working either. They don't like that. HVAC guys have a tendency to get irritated with that. So.
All right. So, have you got any questions for the mayor, especially since you sell homes and there's a lot of new neighborhoods going up? I mean, have you noticed the growth in town, Mayor? I mean, it's growing.
Oh, Abilene's growing.
I don't even recognize it anymore. The traffic is like, oh, you guys are driving me nuts.
Our area is growing. The interest in this new data center going out, on the northwest side of town. That's going to bring a lot of families. The B21 that's coming in the next 5 to 6 years, that's going to bring a lot of new families to Abilene. So we are growing, and we need more inventory. And so I'm loving to see the new houses. The existing homes are still selling well.
Does the city have a pool on that? Say I go out and buy a big piece of land out here in this, and I want to just build it into a neighborhood and build certain kinds of houses. Do I have to get special permissions, or do I have to report that? What?
Well, there's a platting process. You have to do permits and platting processes because, especially inside the city, we need to know where you're going to put it at. We need to look at things like drainage, infrastructure, how we're going to get water, sewer, things like that. It's still a private investment, but you still have to have it platted and engineered.
I got to follow some rules.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Make sure I get it done right. All right. So, because you're the mayor, and everybody's always wanting to ask the mayor a question, And of course, you can always, reach out to us, and we'll bring you back and ask questions.
Well, I don't know all the answers. I'm going to say that right now. So.
Well, you got the
But
bug
I
answers.
can find them out.
Another thing that, getting back to the bugs for just a second, I was going to mention this a minute ago. Red ants, big red ants, and little itty bitty teeny tiny ones. Are there any of them good enough to keep around? I seem to think one of them is the better of all of them.
The big red ant, that's a harvester ant. And, I have some land in southwest Taylor County, and I actually have the horned lizards again, horny toads.
Right.
And so, that's a natural food source for that type of lizard. And so, the harvester ant, it is hard on especially nice yards and landscape. But if they're out, if you've got a large area and they're not hurting anything and not bothering you, I like to let those go. They're good for nature. They've been around forever. Harvester ants, I think they're good to recycle, and they're a food source for other pests too.
And I've got it because when you drive by my property, you see green grass over here and a little red hump that's probably about 5 yards in diameter.
A big circle.
A big circle.
Bigger circle. Yeah.
But you know what? They come in handy. And Tonya, you're going to love this because I had to kill a snake the other day. And if it's a bullwhip, I usually make sure that the tail's not rattling. And this one was rattling. So finally, I got the hoe and killed the snake. And then I drug it over there to where the big red ant bed was. And within a day, there was hardly anything left there but the bones.
Recycled.
Yeah, it was I fed them. And the ants were looking at me like, "Oh, Daddy Rudy, thank you. You fed us." So is that, should I have done something different with the snake?
Oh, well, I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay, so now we know how to dispose of the
I don't guess
snake.
Donna wanted to cook it.
No.
I would never make it in the olden days. I was reading a book and it was like from the 1800s, I think 1800s, and they're like cooking rabbits and snakes.
What was that face again? Rabbits and... Ooh.
Tonya, I'm not eating a snake. I'll eat rabbit. I'm not eating a snake.
Well, I've had it. It's not one of my favorite meals, but I've had it at the Roundup.
I've had it once.
Oh, was that it?
That's it. I'm not eating snake ever again.
Well, I dared them one year to make it and make some gravy with it, and they invited me, and I had it with gravy on it. I can tell you it's not chicken and gravy.
No.
It looked like it a little bit, but then it wasn't.
So
No.
gross.
I don't think anybody knew how to make the proper kind of gravy. What else is coming to Abilene? You got any surprises for us?
I don't have any surprises. We've got some things going on right now. Our rec centers are under construction, that the citizens voted on 2 years ago on the bond package. And so G.V. Daniels over off North Treadaway, you can see the red iron up now. It's going to be a beautiful facility. It's going to really help in those infill neighborhoods. So I'm really excited about getting those complete. The voters passed a bond for an airport expansion. I think y'all all may have heard about that.
Yes.
So, that's going to be really neat. It's probably going to help us in more ways than one get a second carrier. Something that doesn't just fly to DFW, and so we're looking forward to that. And we have more people flying.
Because there was a time when we had one carrier flying to DFW and another one flying to Houston.
To Houston. And when that carrier came in, of course, that was right at COVID. And what happened is there was a pilot shortage after COVID. So your smaller carriers, like those that fly to Houston from Abilene, they just didn't have enough pilots. The pilots are still making the big flights, and so a lot of your small flights like that were canceled. Not just in Abilene, but across the U.S. And so, that's starting to rebuild, starting to get another surplus of pilots again. And I think it would be wonderful to get that flight to Houston. We're really, what we would like is a carrier that would fly to Houston, but at least once a day flight to Denver.
That would be cool.
Right.
That would be cool.
That would be exciting. I mean, just in going different places, at least you're going
west.
Yes. So different direction.
Yeah.
And the airport already looks so much nicer with the things that they have done too.
Yeah, the things they've done, it's nice. It'll be seating for over 100 people now. The seating in the sitting area right now is for about 60 people, and the new planes, and I don't know if you've been on the new planes. Well, they hold 76 passengers, so if you've got a full flight, you've got a full waiting room. And
a lot of times it is a full flight now.
Right. And they're nice planes. They're it's a good flight. It's a good plane.
Much better. And you don't fly into Terminal E at DFW. You fly into B.
Yeah, like
Such
B-19 now or something.
Yeah, well, because it used to be like in its own little spot, at DFW, and then you had. I'm crazy. I mean, I walk the airport. I don't take the tram. So for me, it's so much better because you fly into B, and then I can walk quickly to whichever one you're going to.
Right. Yeah, it
I
will be nice.
Weird. I just like to walk.
It'll be and we'll get rid of the broken escalator. We'll actually have elevators that work, and
Will there still be an escalator?
No.
Oh, they're going to take that out.
So, and when we talk about escalators, how many escalators do you know in Abilene?
Well, we used to have some downtown where the old...
We used to have.
But it's
so
not
the only
there.
one in Abilene's at the airport.
Is that really the only one?
It's extremely hard to get service and parts and everything else on it. So, it came up to have it fixed about a year ago, and we said, well, if we're going to put this bond and redo the airport, why put this money into the escalator that we're going to take out? So it'll be big elevators now. So.
All right. One thing that's going on in Austin, they're talking about getting rid of some, I guess the stuff that the vape shops are selling, or some of the hemp stuff that they're wanting to do away with. If we had an airline going from Abilene to Denver, Colorado, people could go on some nice vacations.
Yeah, they could go on vacation. Are you talking about contraband on the way back? I mean, where are we going here?
Yeah, I wonder how people will smuggle that in. So, all right, with that said, before we run out of time, we know that this Father's Day weekend is here, and I want to know, you're a dad. I know my kids grow up with your kids, so Mayor Hurt, what is the one thing you would love as a gift for you in Abilene? I mean, I know that you're a leader. You're trying to make our city better, and you are. And what is the one thing you would like to see happen in Abilene that would be a gift to Daddy Hurt?
Oh, I would just like to see everyone work together to keep Abilene clean. We talk about that a lot, and we have code compliance officers and people running around town everywhere, but it would be a gift to me if everybody would pick their trash up and mow their grass and keep their place looking nice. We have a nice city, and the more we take care of it, the more proud we can be of it. And
I don't know if you had anything to do with this, but in certain neighborhoods around town, there's a lot of rundown houses, and then I'm seeing people buying those little rundown houses and building up real nice places.
That is part of our
special?
infill incentive. Yeah, that's part of the Rebuild ABI and some of the incentives that we're providing to the home builders to bring those houses and neighborhoods up, and new construction too, but it's single family and they have to homestead it.
If I have a family house that is on the other side of town, I start working on it, are there any incentives for me to rebuild and do?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you just need to contact the planning department, Tim Littlejohn's department at the city, and they can walk you through it, or Kate Alvarez, downtown Kate, you'll know her, and so they can walk you through that process on what you have to do, because you have to bring them back up to be very energy efficient, new roofs, things like that. There are some stipulations that you have to do for these homes, because what the encouragement is that you sell those and they become single family homes.
Okay, there you go. Tonya, any questions for the mayor?
I think I've asked them all.
You don't like bugs.
I don't like bugs.
You should be going, Mayor, can you please come to my house this weekend? All right. Well, thank you for what you do, Mayor Hurt, at both from Pest Patrol and as the mayor. Thank you very
blessed
much.
and honored. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. So, and Tonya, there's no open houses, but you can check them out online.
That's right.
Check it out, Facebook at Tonya Harbin Team. That's Facebook at Tonya Harbin Team. And if you want to find out what your home is worth, you want to go to TonyaHarbin.com. TonyaHarbin.com. Push the big pink button, put in answer a few questions, and next thing you know, you'll be turning that pink button from pink to green, right? We'll find out how much that house is worth, and all you got to do is go to TonyaHarbin.com. Have any questions, you can call them, 325-603-3550, 325-603-3550. It's Tonya Harbin Real Estate. Tonya, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Hurt, thank you.
Thank you.
This is KYYW, Abilene, Texas. Oh yeah, start packing. You're going to be moving soon.